let's really look at our struggles and challenges and see how can we use those as keys to access our wisdom. And then how do we go about harvesting?
Hi, welcome to Resonate, Conversations and Life Lessons from Rancho La Puerta. I'm your host, Barry. My special guest today is Lori Pappas. Lori says she's had 3 careers in her life, launching her latest career a year ago at the age of 74. After overcoming a very traumatic childhood, Lori became one of the first successful females in the new technology and computer industry, so successful that she was able to sell her business and retire at the age of 47. Then while traveling in Africa, she came across a group of people in Ethiopia that were very marginalized and needed help. She was inspired to help these people. She started a charity and lived in Ethiopia for the next 10 years working with that charity and that organization. After returning to the United States, last year she wrote her first book. It's called The Magic of Yes, Embrace the Wise Woman Within. Her goal is to share her story and inspire other people to make a difference in the world. Hi, Lori. Thanks for taking the time to join me today.
Oh, Barry, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you. Tell me, I have this little habit on my guests. I always ask them where they're coming from today. Where are you at today?
Santa Rosa, California, up in the wine country.
Oh, bummer. That sounds horrid. So we have a lot of things we can talk about today. So I'm going to kind of go backwards for a second. So you're currently an author and a speaker. Before that, you were a humanitarian with a charity organization in Africa. Right. Before that, you were a female entrepreneur in a male-run tech kind of industry.
Right.
And then before that, you had a challenging childhood. So I'm guessing that if we start at the beginning, it'll all fade into like what makes kind of sense, a flow.
That's what you'd like to do?
Yes. So let's talk about, because people always tell me, I hear this all the time, everyone has a difficult childhood, it seems like.
Right.
So tell me about yours specifically.
Well, and you're absolutely right. Everybody does have one. People always have challenges to overcome and whatever. And mine just happened to be a little bit different in that my mother thought I was possessed by the devil because I was a rebellious kid and I didn't comply. And little girls in my generation are always told to be good. And if you're not good, that's not great. Mm-hmm. Well, my mother had a hard time dealing with that. So she spent my childhood trying to exorcise the devil in me.
Was she ever successful?
Well, no, but she really did give it a real good try. She convinced my dad to commit me to a nut house.
Oh, my word.
That was before your time, Barry, I think. I mean, that was in the time of when one flew over the cuckoo's nest. And so there were lobotomies and shock treatment. And I was given a bunch of pills, and I had the good fortune of realizing that what was making me fuzzy was swallowing the pills. So I started faking swallowing the pills. And that really taught me probably my first life lesson. And that is, we don't have to swallow all that shit. Excuse me, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We don't have to. We have a choice. Right. And so I faked it. I managed to get out. And that was the end of that. So now we can go on the more fun parts of my life.
So at what age did your parents have you committed to?
16.
When you were 16?
I spent my 17th birthday by myself in the nut house.
My word.
And I was still 17 by the time I ended up in San Francisco in a row house in a rented room and realized that whatever I was going to make out of my life, it was up to me. Nobody was going to help me. Yeah. So I just had to deal with it and get over it, put it together, and figure it out.
So from 17 in a row house to becoming a super successful businesswoman, how did that happen?
Well, luck. I got the lucky card. That really was that, you know, I had an innate desire to help people. I had really two big things going on in my life. I have tremendous drive, obviously. I mean, I'm still standing. And the other thing is I'm smart and I get bored easy. So I came across women of my generation had to work in an office, and I didn't like details. So I'd always figure out how to computerize things, make things go faster and all that. And I discovered the small manufacturing market. And I was lucky. It was right at the time of the advent of the personal computer. And small manufacturers have a lot of detail they have to deal with. That means a computer's a great fit. I was at the right place at the right time, figured out a good solution, and was able to sell the business at 49.
Wow. So what was the business exactly?
Well, it automated small manufacturing companies. So it did scheduling, job costing, business integrated business management, estimating. And the cool thing is it's still running. Some of my first customers still use it because we created it in a way that it could always be upgraded and updated and so forth. So even though it's been sold now 3 or 4 times, one of my best friends is one of my first customers, and he still uses it.
Wow.
That's cool.
That is super cool. So,
yeah.
So did you study business and computer science?
No, I never went to college. Well, I went to college. I didn't finish college because my first husband, when I married him, you know, men needed to go to school. Women were supposed to put men through school. Mm-hmm. He wasn't very smart. He never made it all the way through. And I had babies. So I never finished school.
So you implied first husband. How many husbands have you had?
Well, I'm on my third. And
You're on your third. Okay. I love that. It's an optimistic person. I love that.
Well, you know, the whole thing of it is I had no desire to ever get married again. Mm-hmm. And I was living over in Africa, and I knew it was time for me to leave. I was getting ready to be kicked out because of unrest and stuff. And my daughter said, well, Mom, why don't you try online dating? And I thought, well, that's a pastime. And I control the delete key. So why not? Mm-hmm. So I did.
And you met someone?
I did. And here I am.
Yeah. That's amazing. Wow. What site was that?
eHarmony.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably a good one. All right. So at 49, you decided to sell your business. What made you decide to do that?
Well, I was married to number 2, and he decided it was time for me to sell my business. And he ended up talking me into it. It was really difficult because my business defined me. Yeah. You know, that was my self-worth, was my business. It was really all wrapped up into that. So then when I sold it, it was like, well, so who are you? You know, I mean, and we moved across country, and all of a sudden I went from being well-known and successful business person to nobody. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to learn to be a follower. You know, I volunteered, and I hated it. I mean, because I don't know how to follow. You know, I just knew how to be a boss, and I didn't have anybody to delegate to. And it's tough. I mean, you know, but we traveled a lot. And that's then when I had my next aha moment and started my next career.
I'm going to go back just a second because to me, you seem like a super strong woman and a leader. So how does someone talk you into selling your business?
Well,
did you want to sell it too? At some level, you must have.
You know, Barry, I don't know if men go through the same struggles that women do in regard to self-worth, obviously, because being a woman. But in my generation, and I think still in younger generations, women really struggle rationalizing between their personal self and their professional self. It's a real, because you've got all of these supposed tos. And particularly in my age group, a successful woman was the little wife, We were brought up in the Leave It to Beaver stage, and we're supposed to, if we want to work, we damn well better do everything that a woman's supposed to do at home. And that's really a major, major challenge. I mean, it's really hard to rationalize and harmonize being known at work for what you can do. And then you go home and you're put down because you're not a stay-at-home wife. Yeah. And so that creates a real force of contention. It's not fun. And that's one of the reasons I ended up writing my book, because I feel the pain of all these women trying to feel fulfilled, to find fulfillment. And a lot of us find our purpose outside of the family or in addition to the family. Right. But that's not the big supposed to. The big supposed to is it's all supposed to be being the wife and being the mother.
So a lot of our audience listens, they don't watch us, and I wouldn't know either, but you refer to when you grew up in your generation. What were the years that you grew up, so people can put that in perspective?
Well, right now I'm 76. Okay. So I'll do the math for you. I started my business in 1973. Okay. And, well, somewhere like that.
That's really early on.
Yeah. And, the microcomputer really came out in the late 70s and started being adapted to business in the early 80s. So I was a pioneer in computers. I was one of the first women salespeople in the world to sell computers. You'd never know it now based on my computer skills, but anyway. And then my generation, as far as even in it would have been around 1999, I sold my business. So in the early 2000s, women were really getting into the workforce. There was a lot of good volunteer work going on, especially up in the Seattle area. But, the Me Too generation had not landed yet.
So now we'll talk about how you got to Africa.
So we were traveling, and I was in Niger, in the Sahara Desert. And one really, really hot day, and it was just very, very dry, but we were camped out not that far from an oasis. And a little girl came up to me, and she was carrying her little sibling, and here she was, scrawny and tattered clothes and begging. And I thought, well, she can't need money because there's no stores. I mean, what would you do with money in the middle of the desert? And it turned out what she really wanted was my water bottle. And because if you have water, you have a chance to live. And that little girl had flies on her face. She was about the same age as my granddaughter. And I realized that little girl could be my little Ella. Ella had done nothing special to be born into my family. And that little girl, she did nothing wrong. And that little girl just haunted me. And I kept thinking, well, what if I could figure out something that could get the flies off that little girl's face? Or what if I could do something about water and I could make it so that it was available? What if I could do something so that people had a chance? And then I thought, well, why not? I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I was successful in America. I could do it in Africa. Big deal. And it was a big deal. I mean, it really was a big deal. But I ended up creating a nonprofit, and I chose probably the hardest place in the world to work, which is the South Omo Valley in Ethiopia. And and I worked there for 10 years. And we did get the flies off of some of the people's faces. More importantly, we put in 130 some water wells and water schemes and did a lot of behavior change initiatives and so forth. And I met the most amazing people that I've ever known in my life. And that were these Indigenous people. And they transformed me. They absolutely taught me so much. So I'm the lucky one.
So meeting that girl was your catalyst to deciding to go there. And then why did you pick that spot in Ethiopia? Is that where you were at the time or no?
No, I wasn't there. In fact, I thought I was going to go in French-speaking Africa. But somebody introduced me to somebody that had another little NGO, non-government organization, and they did a lot of work in Niger and Mali, but once a year, they would do what they called a medical mission. And where they have a couple volunteers go with a couple doctors, they'd go down into this area and they would basically distribute medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a hard time with funding. And I said, well, I'll figure it out for you. I can help you get more funding. And so part of the deal was I had to go on one of those trips.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I thought, this is a waste. I mean, you can't give somebody a pill and think you did a good job. But what would you do? What could you do? I can't say you're doing something wrong if I'm not willing to offer another suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not that easy. And so that's what got me going. And the Hamar tribe is the one that captivated my soul. And that's who I work predominantly with.
So after you met the girl, how long was it before you actually moved to Africa to live for 10 years?
Well, I think I must have come across her. I think it probably was in, the short answer is probably about 5 months. Not very long.
Right. Wow.
You know, yeah. I mean, it took a little bit. I went over there, did a survey, and then I realized it was a way to get out of my second marriage. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. I think I'll just go. And for a while, I wasn't there 100% of the time, and eventually I was. And, I lived up in Addis Ababa because that's where that's the capital. And so I was able to manage resources, hire people that could help me manage. But, you know, it's really it's an unbelievable challenge when you're a small organization and you're not able to really compete effectively with the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
From hiring and management systems, but you can do better work because you don't have all that legacy stuff that you're carrying with. You know, you're able to be a lot more nimble and innovative. So it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Is your organization still in existence now?
It's still a 501c3, and we still have an orphanage.
Okay.
But I was forced to leave in 2016. It was getting too dangerous, and one of the contract people that worked for us was killed, and I couldn't deal with that, putting people at risk. And being a single woman, older woman, at that time I was 67.
Mm.
It was an unfair burden to the embassy because I was too much of a hostage target.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so it was time for me to go.
So how did the time in Africa transform you?
Incredibly. It helped me. I transitioned from a doer somebody that was known for what I could do to who I am, who I really am. It gave me the opportunity to reflect and to learn how to access the wisdom that was inside of me, and how to harvest that, and then to turn that wisdom into action. I was able to use my business experience in dealing with business models to put together a personal, how do you find inner peace model. And that really then became the crux of my book and the crux of my message. So
you decided, I'm sorry, you decided to write the book after you returned back from Africa?
Well, no, it's funny. When I first did my big survey over there, the name of the book, The Magic of Yes, came to me, and I knew I had to write a book. But it wasn't time. And so while I was over in Ethiopia, I started taking a lot of notes and this and that. And it took 7 years after I left Ethiopia before I had my energy put back together enough to be able to write my book.
Why The Magic of Yes? Why that title?
Because that's what it's all about. I mean, that really is that there's really the magic of yes to let's really look at our struggles and challenges and see how can we use those as keys to access our wisdom. And then how do we go about harvesting it? And it's all about yes. That's what it is. And so it really comes down to one little word, and that little word is dream. And I'm not talking about fluffy daydreams or anything, but, I'm talking about the acronym DREAM, where D is for desire. Well, what do you need? And R is reflect. Well, what do you know? And E is explore. Well, what should you know? What else could you know? What else could you learn? And A is acknowledge. Well, yeah, life can really suck, but, you're resilient. You're here. You can do this. And M is mantra. There always needs to be something to soothe your soul, to just give you some encouragement along the way. Right. And that's what, that's what readers are telling me, and that they're able to then transform their life by activating their wisdom. Right. Embracing their wisdom.
So, and your book is The Magic of Yes, and then the subtitle is Embrace the Wise Woman Within. So, right. So your goal is to help particularly women have a voice.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To recognize that they have that wisdom inside them. And you know what, Barry, it's kind of interesting is that, about 80% of my readers and followers are women, but about 20% are men, because men are wise too.
Right.
And there really is something about that wisdom elder. We all have those kernels of wisdom within us. We just need to learn how to access it and to activate it.
Right.
So that now is my third career, is trying to promote the idea of peace.
Right.
Heartache within us.
Hello, my name is Denise, and I've been coming to the ranch since I was 24 in 1978. And I became addicted to it after coming time and time again and embracing the spiritual feeling in the ranch. I celebrated my 70th birthday here this past New Year's Eve, and I brought my 5 kids and husband. It's life-changing for me. I feel like I have a healthy attitude towards living. I've embraced it in my children. I cook organically. I just love it, and I feel healthy and great at 70. I feel like I look good inside and I feel good inside and out, and I attribute it to the ranch and everything I've learned here. And I think you should come to the ranch too. You'll love it and get addicted, just like I did. And now my 5 kids are addicted, and my husband. It's a way of life. I love it.
I hope you're enjoying today's podcast as much as I am. To learn more about our wonderful presenters and exciting weeks coming up at the ranch, go to rancholaporta.com and check out our events calendar. Make sure to mention the podcast when making your reservation to take advantage of a special offer. Some restrictions may apply. You spoke earlier about challenges and obstacles is where we obtain wisdom. Is that, am I quoting correctly?
It really is. Think about it. If you went through life and everything was easy, everything was smooth, so you just kind of kept walking down the road, what did you learn? What did you learn? And how did you push the edges? And how did you step out of your comfort zone if you were just walking down a paved path, doing the same old thing? It's really the challenges and struggles that tug us at the edges, that allow us to grow and stretch and experience new things. Yeah. And that's really what the wisdom is.
Some people have a lot of challenges and things to deal with, and it doesn't seem like they necessarily find wisdom on the other side. So what is the trick of reflecting and finding that, turning it into something positive?
Is reflecting. Is you have to pause. You have to pause, and you need to learn to separate the information, the experience, the information, all that stuff coming at you. You need to be able to separate the noise. Mm-hmm. Somehow you've got to get that noise put off to the side. And part of that noise is your emotional baggage you're carrying. And, fear is a real thing. And a lot of people are dealing with a lot of fear. And so I'm not trying to be casual about this. We break down, what are those kinds of fear? And once we can name a fear and name a challenge and start intellectualizing it, it makes a tremendous amount of difference. And then we're truly able to start accessing it.
What is your personal definition of wisdom?
I would say my personal definition of wisdom is understanding the context, understanding the variables and the different elements of a situation, and being able to, it's almost like where you're able to feel what it's like on the ground, but look at it from 30,000 feet. So it really goes into, if I were going to put it into a formula, into like a mathematical formula, I would say what wisdom is it's information minus the noise over time. And time doesn't mean you have to be old, but time means that you've taken that time to reflect. Right. Because to me, the 3 elements of wisdom are seeking knowledge, being open-minded, and reflection, self-reflection. But what's really important is getting rid of the noise.
I love that definition. That's really good. I haven't heard those 3 put together before, so I like that. So did you, what are a couple, insights that you would give to people that are seeking to say yes more to their lives and what's ahead for them and what's good for them?
Right. I would say the very first thing I would do is, congratulate yourself. You're still standing. You are. And what does that mean? It means that you have courage. It means that you're resilient. that you probably push the edges a bit. So you're not some lazy person. You've got curiosity. You've got the ingredients. You really do. And now it's just a matter of learning to flex that muscle, to let it grow, and probably most importantly, to give yourself the gift of being in nature. And that's the thing that I so value about the ranch. And I'm going to give you a little plug here. But boy, when I first came to the ranch, I have been home from Ethiopia for almost 7 years. And I knew I needed to write my book, but I couldn't find my energy. And when I was doing the labyrinth, I'll never forget, I was doing the labyrinth, and all of a sudden, I could start feeling my energy come back. And I remember I was so excited, and it was on Friday nights when you have the party, and I was sitting with this group of women, and I just couldn't shut up. I was so excited. My energy had come back. I could feel my body tingle and it come alive again. But it's that environment. Put yourself in an environment. And unfortunately, we can't all spend our lives living at the ranch, but we can go for a walk. We can go for a park. We can pick up a rock and hold a rock in our hand and feel the energy of the earth in our hand.
Right.
And that is so healing. And all of us can do that.
And I think reflection, nature gives you the opportunity. At the ranch, there's lots of places that you can be completely disconnected from the outside world and just be in nature. And it's a great place to reflect for those purposes.
Oh, it is. It's fabulous.
Right.
It's amazing. But you know what? You could even reflect when you're stuck in traffic. When you're stuck in traffic, instead of being mad at everybody around you, you can look and see if there's a daffodil along the side of the road, or if the sun is glinting off of a leaf of a tree. We can reflect wherever we are once we learn to do it.
Right. Yeah. So now you're a bit of a poster child for not retiring, because you said you failed retirement when you sold your business at 49. And then you ended up in Africa in your 50s and part of your 60s. And then you wrote a book at what age?
At 75, I started my third career. I'm 76 now. I failed that retirement too. I just don't think I'm meant to retire. I don't think that's me.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, I don't like the word retirement. I mean, I think that we repurposing our lives at different points.
Right. And, I'll tell you, I'm not exaggerating. At 76 years old, I am in the highest growth, highest learning period of my life. And I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot. But this is the absolute best, because I'm at a point where I can really take it in.
Yeah.
I don't have to prove anything. And I'm meeting the most incredible people.
What is a couple things, secrets you could give people? Because you have the energy of a 30-year-old and you're like a go-getter. I mean, you met your third husband at 67, wrote a book at 75. What do you do besides being a forward thinker? You must do some things physical to keep yourself in shape.
Well, yeah, my dog and I go on a 3-mile walk every morning. I swim a mile 4 times a week. I eat really healthy.
Yeah.
That's what you do. This isn't magical that you have so much energy. You have to take care of your body.
Right.
And one of my last chapters in my book is say yes to weeding your physiological garden. And it really is all about alignment. Getting in alignment. And a big part of that is your environment. You're not going to be at peace if you keep surrounding yourself by angry people, or if you opt to listen to angry stuff versus peaceful. It doesn't mean that you're not informed, but it doesn't have to define you.
Right.
You know, it goes with one of our favorite meditation teachers that the ranch has, fortunately, when I'm down there at Wisdom Week, and that's Sylvia. And, Sylvia so beautifully says, I choose to meet this moment fully. I choose to meet this moment with ease. And that's true.
Yeah. And this, really, this is the only moment we have right now. So why not with ease, right?
Right. So we have choice.
Yes, we do. Well, thank you this has been awesome. Thank you. And your book is available on Amazon, is it? Or everywhere?
Amazon, yeah. And you can get it on Amazon. You go to my website. I've got the links for all over the world.
Right.
And it's just LoriPappas.com.
And The Magic of Yes.
Correct.
Right. Wisdom for women, but men too. Wisdom for everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for spending this time. And I look forward to seeing you at the ranch again.
Oh, you definitely will do that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Barry.
During my conversation with Lori today, I felt like I could have been talking with a 40-year-old person, not a 75-year-old woman. Lori has passion, a love for life, and a purpose. All these things help to contribute to her youthful spirit. I'm inspired that after 50, she has had 2 new careers. And hey, at 67, she met the love of her life. Like our co-founder, Deborah, who at 60 went to Washington, D.C. and had a career that spanned 17 years. We can't let age or what society tells us damper our passions and our purpose. As we live on this planet, hopefully we gain wisdom. And without wisdom is that every day counts. Every day is a new chance. And Lori has written a book called The Magic of Yes, where she uses her life lessons and her wisdom to help encourage others along in their path. I hope you're inspired to wake up every day and greet the new day as a new opportunity to find purpose, to follow a passion. Until next time, this is Barry, and I'm wishing you health and daily joy.